This is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
You can call us at 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
My mother always tell me that manners carry you through the world. Well, me I go tell you this, a true. And manners me did have why me get a chance to do over my subjects them when me never pass none. All my friend them cause of the school and so the teacher them never teach them nothing. But remember when my mother tell me say, I'm gonna go to my guidance counselor and ask for a second chance. And here I am today, voicing ads and writing scripts for the biggest radio stations. Yeah man, manners teach you respect, and with respect, any good thing you aim for, you can get.
Live the life. Respect the music. And keep your radio locked in.
The Best 100 FM.
He's coming back.
Yes, indeed, it's redemption time with Apostle Clive Campbell presenting a life-changing, life-challenging message to encourage, inspire, and motivate you towards your destiny. Every Tuesday night from 9:30 p.m. until 12:30 a.m. and on Saturday from 9 o'clock until 10, right here on Best 100 FM. It's redemption time.
I'm standing firm.
Wagwan.
Guten Tag.
Buongiorno.
We are
The Kingstones.
I think I love you best of them because you're better than the rest of them. It's so amazing how I love you best of them because you're better than the rest of them.
And love more.
Live, camera, volume. Live it up Fridays on Best 100 FM. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. with I, Ibi Lion, each and every Friday. Giving you the better vibes, heard everywhere.
Vejan Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Vejan Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
With everything within me, I declare your glory. You are God, holy and righteous. You are God. You are God. You are God, holy and righteous. Oh, you are God. You are God. You are
Powerful. Tell you, powerful prayer this morning. We thank you, boss, the Reverend Harold Blair. We must thank him. I'm well pleased. Thank you, boss. I must tell you, we didn't get to touch a lot of the things in any depth that took place. Yes, you heard him mention Sanchez's family. That must be going through grief because, of course, he lost his mother. And then he lost his son on the day he was burying his mother. Wow. And the news this week of the horrific murder in St. James. Worrisome. And I must tell you that amidst all of this, your government's solution has been zozos and states of emergencies. For example, in Denham town, where I believe some 16 people have been murdered since April. Since April, I must tell you, the military is coming under strain there because the military not know police. So we see videos and pictures of soldiers pushing pregnant women. That is how Andrew wants to be remembered. And so we're concerned about the friends he keeps, because we don't want any friends telling your prime minister that soldiers pushing pregnant women with them gun is alright and that solve crime, because we don't see the crime solving. We still see woman throat get slashed. The only thing we see happening is soldier getting more money and things so that them can buy better boot for kick pregnant woman in the belly. And you know it's your taxpayer money they're using to buy the boots. That is why, Lord, but I can't even tell the people nothing about poll. Because right now, let us watch and see. When talk to one from the other side this morning, and you decide if it makes sense to you, you know, because we should have been hearing by now a lot more from the opposition apart from their bickering about all of the chaos taking place in our country. 20 years old. 20 years old. And I must tell you, the family isn't new to crime, because the young lady's father was murdered some 5 years before. Horrific. That some say maybe she should have met her Waterloo at that time, but I suppose she was given 5 more years. You see, a gentleman was just given 5 more years some 2 years ago. You must make sure that you judge him well at the end of that time. This lady seemed to have been judged by someone, and the judgment was death. When you judge the boss, you must judge him like the friends he keeps. And they're not good friends, unless you see him radically turn around, because we believe in forgiveness with Christian. So we can tell him like the thief on the cross, that if him heart come clean and him repent of him sorrows and him fix up him life, him can come back again. Maybe not for the next 5 years. Send somebody else for the next 5 years, but on the party can come back. We're going to speak to Paul Blake. Reverend Paul Blake. I'm told Reverend. I don't know much about the gentleman yet. So you and I will get to know the gentleman at the same time. It's the first time that I'm interviewing the gentleman. The gentleman is the junior spokesperson on agriculture in the PNP. And you may be asking, then Orrett, why make you go get the junior? I was saying, man, the gentleman is very, very well learned in his field, agriculture. So he's not a child. He's an adult man, a reverend. But he's not Luther Cousins, who is the spokesperson on agriculture. You see, I watch the Ukrainian people, how they work the media. They work the media. I'm going to tell you what I mean when I say work the media. You have some tiny media houses all over the place, a lot of them on Facebook and YouTube alone. And they can get interviews with any minister of the Ukraine cabinet. I was telling you, they're doing the rounds. They're making weapons everywhere they go. Yes, I was telling you. Well, I must also tell you that that is the type of food crisis we're likely to face at this pace. We can't keep closing our eyes to the poverty rising in our country because Andrew says so. And we must be careful what we believe Because if you follow Delroy Chuck in the parliament this week, for example, or if you follow Christopher Tufton, yes, both speakers addressed the parliament. It was this week. It was the sectoral presentation for health as well. It's just that we don't touch it. We want to talk to expert about it, so we're going to talk to Dr. Andre Isaacs next week. I must tell you, in the midst of all of that, you have the power to move them. The Justice Minister's presentation would give you the impression that justice in Jamaica is fine. I must tell you, the Justice Minister said that he is aware that some justices of the peace are collecting money to sign documents contrary to what they've signed up to do. Indeed, contrary to the law. Now, the Justice Minister didn't want you to worry too much about that because him says only 1%. Mr. Chuck, is how much people you know getting things signed by JP? the Justice Minister said is only 1% of JPs that would ask you to leave a change when you go to sign a document. That means out of every 100 JP you find, only one of them would dare ask you for a change or a contribution when you sign a document. Now you must ask yourself how much time JP signed the documents for you, how much time you've had to left a change. Rosy pictures. I must tell you, the boss tell us that over by the Administrator General's department, that those are the people that deal with land and all of that, you can get wonderful service. They're even quick to come and collect rent and all of that if you're dead on the estate interstate. He gave us figures that we can talk about at another time. The 31,000 cases, criminal cases, that the government had to deal with, the courts paid by the government had to deal with last year were way more, the Justice Minister says, than the 25,000 or so average year on year. So it looks like more people are getting locked up, more cases going to the courts. Well done. We're still seeing more crime, so we'd expect to see more cases going to the courts. And we are contented for now that the number of cases being solved by the courts exceeds the number of cases coming to the courts year on year, because that only means that the backlog is going down. The JPs though, some of them are lay magistrates, so they have the smaller courts, so they are important to that whole justice system, and we must thank the minister that now all of them getting email. I happen to know a little thing about the email thing. Guess how much it costs for your government to lay down a platform for your JPs to get email? $5 million. Listen, listen. You can't make this government run your business. I must tell you, if I had to pay $5 million for my staff get email, I would never have business. $5 million. I'm glad that the Justice Minister rushed through that part when he was making his speech. $5 million. If do some good, you're asking $5 million for what? For JP email. To give the JPs an email at MOJ or wherever the JP email address is going to be. It costs your government $5 million. I could find many companies, Mr. Chuck, that would do it for 20% of that. And be happy. I must tell you. Because they would still be milking you. So they'd be happy. Anyway, we're going to shortly run into the conversation that I told you about, because we have to talk food security. We've been saying a lot about the Justice Minister's presentation. We have to say a little bit as well, as you are aware, about the Health Minister's presentation. You know, the Health Minister is Prime Minister in waiting. You never know. Well, the Health Minister is Prime Minister in waiting. And the health minister would love to see nothing more than the resignation of the prime minister. The health minister is on our side. Mr. Golden, Dr. Tufton is on your side. But I must tell you, you mustn't be too excited because we're not sure if you could beat him. We're going to help ourselves to make the judgment in the conversation we're about to have. I tell you, we're having a conversation with Paul Blake a little later on. Some people asked me to say morning and all of that in this segment and to turn to some of the things that they're saying. So I'm going to do that in short order. Don't get vexed. You hear that? You hear that, my lovely friend Nikki? Don't get vexed. We're going to do it in short order. Something else that the Justice Minister touched was restorative justice. And it is something that I forgot to ask Reverend Blair his opinions on. Because you see, he's of the view that the church can become a site of intervention to help with some of the restorative justice efforts taking place on the ground. It is important because it ends the cluster in our courts. You see, you and your neighbor having arguments over where the fence must stop. And your neighbor gone now and extend the fence little because him say that is where him did come see the post. You know them call it the post or the peg or whatever they call it that divide your land. And now you're in quarrel and argument with the neighbor. And it might lead to some violence on a run gone a court. You hear? It can take 3 years in the court, you know. In all that time, all your neighbor want to do is grow a little weed on the land. Or a little something, and you vex and the two of you arguing because you want to do your own thing with your little piece of land, but you can't settle whose it is. So now you're gone to court and you're having argument in the court and it's taking years. And the land spoiling while the court making decision. Well, the boss is saying you can probably take it before a committee in a church or something like that. And the two of them talk and work it out. And we like that proposal coming from the Justice Minister. We think more effort should be put behind it. We want the Justice Minister to tell Audley Shaw where him buy the bus. The Justice Minister buy 2 buses. And the bus them come well equipped, so it's like court pan wheels. Yes? You need to go courthouse. You can't join by video link. Them send a bus. The bus come to your community. You run to the bus and you sit down and you give your testimony. You might afraid to go in the town. I mean, this is Jamaica. Huh? You might be going to give evidence and man snuff you out. They could snuff you out near the bus too. But anyway, the police were telling us this week them can't go up and toll, go run up and down the toll. People say it's not true. So we don't know how long it would take the police to reach it. Depends on who you believe. We're talking too long because I think we have to run into that conversation with the gentleman, Mr. Paul Blake. We have to talk about food security. You must remember what brings us to this discussion. The Agriculture Minister, I'll tell you a preamble. The Agriculture Minister, when he recognized that chicken was going to cost too much for you and I, and you and I have sat and watched the price of chicken near double, and not lying, in 2 years. Is liar telling Andre? The near double in 2 years? It was just $200 a pound, less than $200 a pound. So, yeah, so near double in 2 years. So you and I have sat and watched the price of chicken. Chicken is a Jamaican staple. Rice and peas and chicken. You can curry the chicken any way you want to do the chicken. Once upon a time, rich man in Jamaica used to give the chicken back to him dogs. And then chicken back became almost like a staple to poor people. Chicken back selling for more than chicken price now. And I must tell you, when the minister came upon that occurrence, and it wasn't so stark as it is now, the minister decided at that time that he was going to grant a levy to the importers, the people who import chicken and chicken parts. You remember? We were glad that the minister U-turned. We were excited about the U-turn. We were bitter disappointed that we didn't see much pressure from government about a U-turn. And I must tell you, we talked from opposition. I must tell you, we spoke to a former senator at that time, And the former senator came on our program and we spoke. And not when the good thing is I talked to quite a few former senators, say, Council, and I asked the former senator comment on this matter. The former senator said no. The former senator was concerned it might affect his business. But I must tell you, we mustn't play about the issue of compensation. You can't sit and watch your government compensate the rich while you are left to suffer. You are dealing with an agriculture minister who chose by choice to come and tell you that he was going to give a subsidy, in essence, by removing taxes at the wharves for goods coming to chicken importers. But you, the chicken farmer, couldn't get a reprieve, a little ease upon the feed. That is the agriculture minister you are dealing with as you run into a food crisis. A food crisis that is known. So we'd expect your government to plan and prepare. But with those in none of that planning and preparation, so we're going to have a conversation with Mr. Paul Blake. He is the junior spokesperson on agriculture for the opposition, the PNP. We had trouble getting through to Lothan Cousins, who is the spokesperson on agriculture. And of course, we'll try to have word, hear what the minister's saying next week. We have Mr. Yes, he is Mr. Blake. Reverend Blake, my profuse apologies. Hello.
Good morning, Mr. Montague. How are you doing?
Not bad. Good morning, sir. You're in farming? You're in farming, I take it.
Yes, I double in it.
What you farm?
What I farm? So I do a little backyard farming with, callaloo and lettuce and so forth. Just some little catch crop.
Okay, you are the PNP's junior spokesperson on agriculture. We're having trouble, I must tell you, getting hold of the spokesperson on agriculture. Has he met with you about these announcements of pending food crisis?
In fact, yes. We also was in Guyville on Wednesday at a farmers meeting where we met with the farmers of Guyville along with the opposition leader. And so we have been talking about, food security and food insecurity rather, and so on. So yeah, we have met and we have spoke about it.
I mean, I heard Colonel Charles Jr. But I must tell the people what I thought about all his plans after. I don't want to give an assessment of the minister's presentation without having fairly listened to it deeply, and I haven't. But I'd ask you, did it address the crisis that we're hearing about? Are there plans coming that you are comfortable with? Should we sit now and relax and watch government do the magic?
So there's actually no solid or concrete plans for food security for Jamaica. There is no the minister don't even talk about the climate change and the impact that climate change have on agriculture. We see where rainfalls are coming in earlier. For example, in April, we don't know April to be a rainy month, and we had a lot of rains in the month of April. And so we're going to have a longer drought, we're going to have all of this, and there is nothing that the agriculture minister is doing to navigate climate change. We see where there is a lack of access to farming lands for farmers. In fact, the farming lands are given to the big companies and the rich peoples and all of that, while the small farmers are not benefiting. So there is no concrete plan in terms of having dealing with food security going forward.
What are some of the plans that Mr. Cousins and the PNP and yourself would want to see put on the table?
Well, some of the plans is that we need better access to infrastructure, better improving infrastructure rather, because we understand that some farmers fail to get their produce to the market because of poor infrastructure such as road, storage facility, and food processing equipment. So it ends up rotting the farms and being taken to those who need it and so on. So we need better access to better infrastructure. In fact, the budget per year is $1 billion to improve farm roads. And so that needs to be implemented, that more farm roads are built, better access to markets. A lot of farmers are complaining that, they're not getting their produce into the market. Just on Saturday on an entertainment show right here, we saw two young ladies who are in agriculture that they had to reach out to an entertainment show to get produce sell and so on. So we need better access to market, better infrastructure, and we need to promote diversification in agriculture. And so it can't be that we're just focusing on one single food. We need to focus on a diversity of food that creates health benefit and better nutrition.
Well, I like all of that. I must tell you, the government has made quite a lot of land available. It inherited much of that from the previous government, and you remember the big farms, the agro parks.
Right.
What is happening with those?
So I know that through the Jamaica 4-H clubs, they were last year they were leasing some agro parks to young people between the age of 18 to 35. I don't know what the take-up was at this time. I don't know if they have even gotten access to the land as yet. And so you have a few agro parks that are not in operation.
Indeed.
And
a lot. I must tell you, a friend of mine took up peace, and she's not a rich lady. So just look at one of the things they said was that only money people can get land. No, she's not no particular money people, but she was able to call them, and they offered her a piece of land, and she was very grateful. She went there and she saw, and she accepted, and she signed her papers. 20 acres, nice piece. But up until now she can't occupy the lot.
And so I thought you were going to say that she's planting, she's producing, and so on.
Wait, 1 year in the back, you'd hope.
That's what happened. That you go through the process, and then to get access to the land, you have to wait another decade.
She said they're doing something. They can't, is irrigation and access and all of that they're fixing, she said. So we'll wait. But in the meantime, it cannot be a case that we sit and we watch so many years of. I thought Floyd Green's years in the agriculture thing never so bad, and I would hope that the PNP recognizes the need to fund agriculture, because some of our farmers still rely on antiquated methods of farming, and of course we can't keep importing feeds and inputs. So there must be some serious decision from government to fund agriculture and to cut some of the customs duties and taxes, the burdens on chicken feed and all of that in the meantime, because the prices surely are soaring. What discussions have you had in the opposition about how the people can manage the soaring prices?
So the discussions that we're having is that, under the leader of the opposition has said it, that under the next PNP administration, that agriculture will be a driving force in the economy. And so, we are seeing that probably every other week that chicken feed is raised. We're seeing where fertilizer is being raised, and we're seeing that the gas price is also contributing to these things being raised, and so we have called for the edge tax on gas to be taken off. And so the opposition has always been calling for these things, that small farmers in the hills of Guyville, in the hills, not the hills, but in the plains of St. Elizabeth, can benefit from agriculture. And we can't benefit at this time with a soaring increase in the input cost, the setup cost, in the operational cost, and all of that.
Indeed, the prices that farmers are facing have been progressively getting worse, and on top of that, as you get your little pittance, I have a friend named Miss Panka. Miss Panka, morning. I hope that all is well. Miss Panka is a big Miss Panka, you're a gem. Now, people like Miss Panka and my good friend Sandra, morning. We hope all is well. These are hard-working Jamaicans who depend on small backyard agriculture, like you call it, to send their children to school and to meet little expenses that come along. You know, sometimes you get hit with an emergency. They have to sell a goat. I hear Damien Crawford saying that when he was running against that lady married to Daryl Vaz out in East Portland, she said that him only could have talked pretty. What's her name? What's her name again? Anne Vaz? Yes, Anne-Marie Vaz. Yes, and he told her that he wanted to give every youth a goat. Many if only did believe him them times, you'd probably have about 16 goats each now. And I must tell you, is $1,000 a pound the goat meat selling for? Eh?
Right.
No. Right. If you're getting £20 a goat, you're looking at 20,000. You men. And they take $10,000 from Anne-Marie Vaz. But we digress. The goats and the chicken that people raise are often at risk because sometimes people in the community and indeed outside of the community think that they can come and take it. So predatory larceny continues to affect most of our farmers, and it affects our small farmers most because people afraid for thief from rich man. Why people afraid to thief from rich man in Jamaica? You have your 20-30 goat and they're quick to come and load up 5. I saw them taking about 12 out of a pro box the other day in a video.
But on the issue of predatory larceny,
yes.
You know, what we're seeing, even in conversation with farmers, is that when Floyd Green was minister, he said that he would have implemented wardens for farm areas and so on. We don't know. A lot of farmers that I've spoken to don't know who are the wardens. In fact, agriculture needs to be that important that an assistant commissioner of police should be in charge of predatory larceny department. It should not be anybody under the rank of an assistant commissioner. And then what happens in these divisions and these parishes that we have superintendents or even inspectors who are in charge of predatory larceny. If we're going to take this in serious, we need to also think about how the JCF calculated. We can't have anybody under assistant commissioner who is in charge.
Well, I would agree. So one of my listeners said that I'm playing a joke on them about you being junior spokesperson for agriculture. The people say they don't know you. You do the rounds a lot.
Yes, I the more popular person would be my senior. He's in Parliament.
Yes, but he doesn't do the rounds a lot, and he's hard to reach. I must tell you.
And so on. I have been on the road. As I said, we were in Guyville on Wednesday.
I saw.
Meeting with the farmers. We had a farmers meeting at the Guyville town hall.
Junior spokespersons in the PNP must tell senior spokespersons in the PNP that they must wait until they go to government to get arrogant with their phones. I love dramatic pauses. Lovely, Mr. Blake. I'm going to go to another text. The text that says, "Good morning, Monty. Food insecurity is a serious issue for our families around the world, and we need to do farming on a bigger level." They want you to tell us about quick crops and bigger level farming. I did note that a proposal from the PNP has sort of been tweaked so that there was some grant money made available to farmers. I think it was up to 10 million through the DBJ with a 1-year moratorium and a 9% interest rate. So you get a nice long time to pay. But they made the hurdles so difficult so people couldn't really reach it. Would you also consider these type of proposals? The import substitution was also something proposed by a texter. But I think the import substitution is referring to the feeds. I had suggested dropping some of the price on the taxes charged on bringing in feeds, and instead, mind you, in the meantime, try to substitute the feeding so that we not have to import so much. The PNP believe in funding agriculture, I'm sure. We're going to hear some noise about it in the coming days, weeks, while we discuss this food insecurity thing.
The food insecurity, or food security rather, is important, and Jamaica have the ability to feed the world. We should not be importing so much per year. We should be exporting. We have the ability to feed the world. And so, as I said, one of the impact, or the negative impact, is access to land. And so there needs to be more access to land. And I remember the speech, even though it is before my time, that Michael Manley gave at the National Stadium in 1976. And he called the farmers to come from the mountain because they had retreated to the mountain to do agriculture and to have access to the land on the flat. And so there's a lot of lands that are here. In fact, if you're traveling on the PJ Patterson Highway into Kingston, you will see that there are a lot of lands that are under use. And so when you travel to other countries like Suriname and so on, when you're traveling on the highway, you're seeing the farmers are planting along the highway, and it doesn't matter how long of a stretch you're going. And so these lands are there that need to be accessed. And so we do what agency we go through to get access to those. And so the agriculture minister needs to know, come out and give a proposal for land. Are youth going to get 20% of government-owned land? Are rural farmers going to get 15% of government land? Even to lease, we need this access, and we also need, as I said, because predatory larceny is a big thorn in agriculture, and so we need those systems to be set up that ensure that food can be planted, and nobody don't just, because everybody wants to reap the corn, but nobody wants to plant it.
Yes, same. So you can find it for it. Everybody wants to reap the corn, and nobody is quite right. And don't forget the money part. You wanna have big money leader. Don't forget the money part. His friend is Mr. Bunting. If him have money or not, people think he does. So don't forget the money part. The farmers need serious money. I like how you sound. I must tell you, it sounds like renewal is continuing in the PNP. We're grateful for that because we still can't hear from Mr. Cousins. So we like how you sound, and we're hopeful. Listeners, Mr. Paul Blake is the junior spokesperson of agriculture for the opposition. We thank you so much for joining us this morning. Is there anything you'd like to add before we run to the interconference?
What I want to add is that lobbying for the farmers is that we need rather to step up the game and to stop being a political tool and start to represent the people that they're representing. One of the other things is yes.
Okay. We thank you so much for the conversation this morning. Enjoy the rest of your day, Mr. Blake.
Thank you, you too.
Yes, yes. Reverend Blake, my apologies. I should have spoken to the gentleman and asked him about that title. I'm sure he's probably pastor of, well, he would be pastor of a church. So his congregation.
Yes, I'm pastor in Manchester.
You're still there. You're pastor where?
Grace Community Fellowship in Manchester and a mission organization, One by One to Jamaica.
Amen. So we say morning to the people at the Grace Foundation Fellowship, you said?
Community Fellowship.
The Grace Community Fellowship out in Manchester. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Listeners, we're running to the break. J.A. will continue to speak when we come back. We have to talk to Damian Gordon and to Robert Finzi Smith. You're still learning. We're still talking about the week's developments, and we're still asking hard questions. I'm sorry. Don't go nowhere. Stay with Bess.
Nobody want to plant the corn. Everybody want to raid the barn. Who you have a blame it on? When he's a next man, you are the pen pan. Well, you wrong. Nobody want to plant the corn. Everybody want to raid the barn. You happy sing your own a song, can't compete with Taylor's John. I feel pleased when I take a little ease from a long hard day of work. A sense of achieving to know I'm contributing, doing my part too. This is my comfort. I know there is a reward for every trying man.
We'll be right back.
BBC News. Hello, this is Jerry Smith. Hungary's Prime Minister has accused the head of the European Commission of undermining EU unity on sanctions, intentionally or otherwise, over proposals to ban Russian oil imports by the end of the year. Viktor Orban said that Hungary would veto the proposals in their current form because of the devastating economic impact they would have on Hungary.
As far as this proposal is concerned, it doesn't take into account the differences between European countries. If some have sea and harbours, they are able to receive oil by ship from anywhere in the world. But there are countries without sea, such as Hungary, so oil can only be delivered via pipelines. One end is in Russia and the other end is in Hungary. This is a fact. So we cannot accept something that misses that, because it's like dropping a nuclear bomb on the Hungarian economy.
A senior Ukrainian official has said the next stage of trying to evacuate people from a besieged steel plant in the southern city Mariupol is underway. It follows the evacuation of nearly 500 civilians from the city in recent days, in operations coordinated by the United Nations and Red Cross. The UN Secretary-General spokesman, Stefan Dujarric, said those who had fled the Azovstal plant were traumatized.
We have managed to get a number of convoys working in partnership with the International Committee for the Red Cross to get these people out to safety. And what my colleagues who are on the ground, who are on the buses with them, are telling me is that they're seeing just such deep trauma, deep psychological scars of what people have had to endure.
A court in Belarus has sentenced the Russian girlfriend of a Belarusian opposition blogger to 6 years in jail, nearly a year after the pair were hauled off a Ryanair flight that the Belarusian authorities had diverted to Minsk. Sofia Subiega was found guilty of charges including inciting social discord and illegally collecting personal information of officials. Her boyfriend, Roman Protasevich, is a prominent critic of Belarus's long-standing authoritarian leader, Alexander Lukashenko. One of the world's biggest sporting events, the Asian Games, has been postponed as the host China battles to maintain its zero-COVID policy. The Games were due to take place in the Chinese city of Hangzhou in September. Here's Alex Capstick.
Most international sports events in China have been postponed or cancelled as the country continues its policy of suppressing COVID. This year's Winter Olympics in Beijing was an exception, although participants complained of draconian measures designed to keep the virus from spreading beyond a so-called closed-loop system. The Asian Games, one of the world's biggest multi-sports events involving over 11,000 athletes from 44 nations, was expected to adopt a similar strategy.
News from the BBC. Israeli security forces are continuing to search for 2 Palestinian men suspected of carrying out an attack with knives and axes that left 3 people dead and several others wounded in the city of Elad on Thursday night. Police say they've identified the 2 men and have called on the public to provide any information on their whereabouts. The 3 Israeli victims have also been named. The attack came on Israel's Independence Day, a public holiday marking the country's founding. Britain's Prime Minister Boris Johnson has admitted that his Conservative Party had a tough night in some areas in local elections. Results so far show that it suffered a number of losses. Mr Johnson has been under fire for breaking his own COVID lockdown rules and being fined by the police. The opposition Labour Party made significant gains in London, including 2 councils held by the Conservatives for decades. Police in the Netherlands say 2 people have been killed during a shooting in the town of Alblasserdam. Several others were seriously injured. Anna Holligan is in The Hague.
Photos show 2 trauma helicopters in a field in front of a row of windmills. The deadly attack appears to have taken place on or near a care farm. These are popular institutions in the Netherlands which encourage people with disabilities or mental health issues to carry out light farming duties. Police have arrested a suspect and seized a gun. An investigation is being carried out to try to work out what happened and why the victims might have been targeted.
The Iranian Education Minister, Youssef Nouri, has threatened that teachers who take part in protests demanding better conditions could be fired. Demonstrations by teachers have been going on for several months. A large number of rallies were held across the country earlier this week to mark Iran's Teachers' Day. The police beat and arrested several of those protesting. BBC News.
The station that makes you feel good. Moving.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station. Moving.
My station.
Moving. Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Bess FM. Keep listening.
Half a tree, 100, half a tree. Bossy, how you do I take taxi start?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and I check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? You waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose a problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me, send you.
You big star. Yeah, man. Respect my boss.
Yeah, try and call him, cause trust me.
Waiters Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
What a relief.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-3825-8 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
Live the life. Respect the music. And keep your radio locked in.
The Best 100 FM.
He's coming back.
Yes, indeed, it's redemption time with Apostle Clive Campbell, presenting a life-changing, life-challenging message to encourage, inspire, and motivate you towards your destiny. Every Tuesday night from 9:30 p.m. until 12:30 a.m. and on Saturday from 9 o'clock until 10, right here on Best 100 FM. It's redemption time.
I'm standing firm.
Wagwan.
Guten Tag.
Buongiorno.
We are
the Kingstones.
I think I love you best of them because you're better than the rest of them. It's so amazing how I love you best of them because you're better than the rest of them.
And love more.
Live, camera, volume. Live it up Fridays on Best 100 FM. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. with I, Ibi Lion, each and every Friday. Giving you the better vibes, heard everywhere.
Alpha tree.
Why the bus boxer? Sorry, young man. I never mean to step on your toe.
You're good, Granny.
Hi, Grandma. Here is a seat. Thank you, my dear. You know how long I did stand up at the bus stop and wait? Be considerate. It is contagious. Let's pass it on to the weak and the strong.
Best 100.5 FM brings you youth empowerment and resilience, a 30-minute program with Royton McLaren every Monday from 7:30 to 8 p.m. Your Monday nights will not be the same again. Managing stress, trauma? Let's talk on youth empowerment and resilience with Royton McLaren on Best 100.5 FM every Monday from 7:30 to 8 p.m.
Vejan Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Vejan Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Oh Lord, we glorify your name. We bless your name, Jesus. We give you the glory, God. Oh, when I first started walking with the Lord, I never knew how to pray. I said, Lord, teach me everything that I need to know, because halfway with you, Lord, just won't do. Halfway with Jesus just won't do. Halfway with Jesus just won't do. You got to walk straight through the narrow way. Yes, halfway with you, Lord, just won't do. Hallelujah, hallelujah. So I am messed up, I am messed up on this journey with my Lord, and I try to turn from the Lord, but Lord, you reach down and you force me right back into your arms, because you know I have work to do. Halfway with Jesus just won't do. Somebody help me sing. Halfway with Jesus just won't do. You got to walk straight through the narrow way. Yes, halfway with Jesus just won't do. Walking with Jesus is not easy, but if you messed up, God will pull you and reach down for you. Hallelujah. Christians, it's not easy to walk with God, but if you believe that He will come true for you, hallelujah. Somebody lift your hands. I'm telling you, halfway with Jesus just won't do. Halfway with Jesus just won't do. Somebody need to hear. Halfway with you, Lord, just won't do.
Wow. You see, it's important, that reflection, it was important. We thank him for it. We were making some connections. My profuse apologies. You're tuned to Best 100 FM. I'm your host, Orrett Montague. J.A. is speaking. It is your program where we review the week's political, current affairs, and sport developments, the things that matter to you, that affect your life. And of course, we're coming to you live on FM 100.1, 0.3, 0.5, 0.7, and 0.9. We also stream live at www.bestfm.com. You can pick up the stream on YouTube. At Best 100 FM. You hear? I must tell you some of the comments coming in. I hope some music going to drop back behind the sound. We must apologize for taking so long to return to you. Listen now. Perry, stop it. Say, Monty, your guess is laughable. Jamaica can feed the world. We'll come back to aunt him. And I can spend aunt. I thought it was Mandy who built out schemes on the flatlands in Clarendon. Him call farmers from mountain and him send laugh of things and call. We thank you for the contribution, Perry. All right, my boss, you've made your point. Yes, it was an exaggeration, Jamaica feeding the world. But we thank the boss for the contribution all the same. It's 20 minutes past 8 o'clock. We are about to call roll. You hear? So you know how the roll thing go. If we call your name and we add it to the roll, it means we find you blameless. But of course, there are those whose names we'll call who we know nothing about, but who can be blamed for plenty. In such instances, we apologize from early because we're not gods. A hefty morning to all our listeners. If you're tuned to Best, you know it's go. That was Apostle Siobhan Lawrence. The music, I'm told. One day I want to meet her. The people tell me she runs a beautiful thing. I didn't know she was into singing till our morning. Ricardo Porcher says, Happy Mother's Day to all. The mothers listening when it comes on Sunday. Happy Mother's Day, mothers. We have how we sound. We have to carry someone out this weekend. How we sound. If you want to carry someone out this weekend, when you call and you have somebody special, if you have somebody special and we're impressed about the special nature of the relationship and we feel so touched, then we will help you to take that someone special out this weekend. Ricardo Porches, thank you for the contributions, boss. And Pedro E says, Perry the Parrot sounds like gaslighting. What do you mean? You know gaslighting. You mustn't talk about gaslighting when it comes to Perry's speech, because you run the risk of catching fire. You can't light fire round gas. And you're quite right. Perry spits a lot of gas. We say morning, Donovan Hoylett. Mr. Monty, don't be stingy with the Kumina songs them. They make more sense than these you're playing, like the Jabez, I Am a Warrior. And the next one that you always play, I don't understand, is that him called Kumina song? I mustn't be stingy with the Kumina songs. You have to be a bit clearer, my boss, on what you mean by Kumina songs, but I thank you for the contribution. Leighton Grandison says, we are watching here in Rock Hall. We say morning, Rock Hall people. We have to say morning to Glen Goff as well. Glen Goff, morning. We're glad you're in the building. We say hefty morning in the East St. Thomas people, morning. You hear what your member of parliament say? Your member of parliament say, too much people coming from outer port that you don't know, and them on bail, hiding from some argument or chaos, and them choose to hold up in St. Thomas, she say. So she say, a good way to address it is to ensure that they're all tagged. She say it going to cost the government less if you can take boy out of prison that waiting on court case, drop tag on the foot so he cannot become a fugitive, committing crime again on loose. What do you think? We hear her, but this is Jamaica. We'll watch and see. Alcubulan morning, my boss. We say Toronto is in the building. We say morning, a hefty morning to all our listeners in the diaspora. Mr. Earl Brown, morning. We have to say morning to a good friend Taisha. Taisha, morning. We say morning all of Old Harbor. Mr. George, good morning. Shernet, we hope all is well. Blessings, ma'am. We hope all is well. Morning, Sandra, right on your cheek. Morning. And you know, the jungle people, they haven't been facing it as hard as the people are experiencing it in Denham Town. And I'm talking about the abuse from the security forces that this morning greet us on the front page of our Gleaner. I must tell you, when you take your army and turn them into beat foot police, this is the type of strain that breaks them. If it goes on prolonged, they begin to think that they are capable of anything. We must be careful. We must draw back. I beg you. Truth to power say, good morning, Monty. I want to hear you take on the Presley Brigham story and what seems to be happening since a certain visit. Well, I must tell you, I've taken it on, but you need to tell me more about the visit. Message me privately, let me know what you mean. Monty, you want to wager that we suddenly hear that Brogard is going to honor his promise and resign now that his second term will soon be up? Well, that would be what do you think? Should we pray? Listeners, a comment here is a bet, is a wager. Is a wager. It's not just a normal comment, it's a bet. I don't bet, I must tell you, I don't bet. But if I was a betting man, I would say, don't hold your breath, love. She said, Monty, you want to wager that we're going to suddenly hear that Brogard is going to honor his promise and resign now that his second term will soon be up? Well, if it is going to to Dr. Tufton, maybe. If it is going to Floyd Green, morning Minister Green, morning Dr. Tufton. Listen, Minister Green was the best Minister of Agriculture that Andrew Holness gave us. Talk the truth, talk the truth. I'm going to move back. Talk the truth, don't tell no lie. Floyd Green was the best Minister of Agriculture that Andrew gave us. And now they put Pernell Boy in the chair. And I must tell, this is the same one that had umbrella over him head when them walking. Security had to hold umbrella over him head. They go and hold umbrella over your head when you walk out the farms, boss. When you walk on some of these lands that people still can't get, you're going to have them hold umbrella over your head, because if they go and hold umbrella over the boss head, then it means they will have to pave road to go to these farmlands. So please pave road to the farmland so Mr. Charles can visit them, and then maybe our farmers will get more than $1 billion spent on farm roads. Listen, Floyd Green, wherever you are, give some advice to the new agriculture minister. Tell him that farmers want money because they need to put inputs into their agriculture. They want to buy more goats. They want to buy more seed. They want to cultivate more land, and therefore they need to spend a little more on irrigation. Do your own spending, we beg you on some irrigation as well. You know the people want help with irrigation? Yeah, you need water to grow. And so many times the water just not in the right places. Help the people to find it and bring it closer to the land. Help the people, I beg you, with the protection of their animals and their crops. You want to see good farming in Jamaica? Ensure that when the people go to market and harvest to go to market, they are keeping their profits and not losing it to hoodlums and to disasters. We want a better agriculture in Jamaica because food safety is under threat. You hear? And we want to keep telling the truth. We don't want to entertain the rosy picture all the time that your government paints. You saw chicken prices double in 2 years. It didn't double overnight. It graded up so that about 50% would have gone onto it by the end of the first year. That is an example of what is to come for every single thing you eat if your country don't grow more. And your government must be honest with you about that. Don't blame us for taking honesty to the people. I must tell you, we have to say a hefty morning to Earl. Morning, boss. I said morning to the diaspora already. You did probably miss it. Him said the world see how a soldier beat a youth with his gun butt. Sobering. And it's a black youth in beat. It's not like when you see it on TV and you see them stop black youths in America and the white police behave a certain way. It's him own kind in beat. And the girl who was pregnant, she could be his sister. I don't know, she could be. So humanity is lost on our army because they have been put on the streets to become common security guards. We're going to run into the conversation shortly. I'm being told, so I have to say the rest of my mornings. We have to go to the break first, remember? Oh, we're not going to the break now. We have to go straight to Finzi. I'm going to finish the big ups and all of that when we come back. I have to say morning, a hefty morning to our good friend Al. Morning, Omar, all of Portmore. Now go ahead, morning. We've never big up Nikki and the bus park. Morning to all the people at the bus park out there in Naggerhead, Portmore, Soonton Parish. Them says it's still keeping. We say morning, a hefty morning to the people working at the new building. Them have new municipality building. They must stop use politics money and build big sign though. We say Mayor Leon Thomas have big sign, welcome to Portmore. We were hoping to see the sign at the start of Portmore, but it's more in the middle of Portmore. So I wonder is who him welcoming. We don't reach already. We're going to the phone. Welcome to the program. Good morning, Major Robert Finzi Smith. I hope that all is well.
Morning, sir.
I hope all is well.
Well, as I tell you, not all is well, but you woke up this morning, so be grateful.
Well, this young lady says she wake up boasting in the Lord. So, yes, we are very grateful because we're able to boast in the Lord. Always so.
You sound grateful.
There you go.
You sound good.
There you go. Now, this week, a more horrific news hit us, which is why you're on. And I must tell you, I don't know what it will take to bring peace to St. James. One member of parliament is suggesting using electronic monitoring, tags for sure. But you would have heard by now about the murder of 20-year-old Christy McBean, a young lady whose throat was slashed, her 6-month-old baby in the crib. We give thanks that they didn't take the life of the child.
That sounds almost like what you would call a crime of passion.
It sounds like a crime of passion to you.
Yeah.
Man, I carry cat feelings.
Yeah.
Oh, the cat feelings cause the young lady's throat to be slashed.
You might want to check the DNA of the baby as against what DNA was found on the young lady's body.
Oh. Then what could lead anyone to that type of violence against the mother or against anyone that they claim to love?
There's a thin line between love and hate. The same passion with which you love, if you feel betrayed, you will hate.
I must tell you, I have a brethren who went through turmoil with a woman. Terrible turmoil with a woman. And he didn't kill her. It sounds like I must commend him for it. The boss had bought her.
He's expecting no one to kill anyone because they feel bad.
Yeah, but it sounded like that was what you were saying. You're saying to me, she hurt him terribly. So them decide to take the life.
Well.
It can't be.
Because understand, some psychologists will tell you that a lot of the anger that is bestowed upon other people, the result of it, is actually a thing where I am angry with myself for having put myself in the position to have been hurt that way. I'm not going to hurt myself, so I hurt what I think is the source of the problem.
Wow. Gentlemen, we're going to implore you, we're going to beg you to stop carrying cat feelings. Women, we're going to implore you, we're going to beg you to stop attaching price to the cat. I must tell you about the young man who didn't take this road, this path. He had met the young lady pregnant when she was about 17. Young lady had dropped out of school. He himself was going to university at the time. The boss stopped going to university, said he could work part-time, or could work, my apologies, to send her to school part-time and to ensure the baby get good look after. It wasn't his. Later on, he got his own through the same mother, thankfully. But when the young lady get the whole heap of degree, them and the big post at the big place, she never want the relationship no more. So they ended up living in a home that they'd both bought, but that she now thought that he needed to leave.
That's unfortunate, because if they both bought it, very much, you see, most people concentrate when they are
both bought sort of means, since the boss was the only one working at the time and all of that, sort of means the boss took out a mortgage and put her name on it.
Well, as I say, you ever notice that when you hear two people break up, most women ask, what did he do? Very few people ask, what did she do?
True, because...
And I'd like to point out that the spousal act, that knife cuts both ways.
Wow.
It's 50% of what you own and 50% of what she owns.
We hope that some peace comes to the family. The family very distraught. We're not confirming with anyone that it's this type of violence, but I must tell you, if you're facing domestic problems, domestic violence, talk to a counselor, talk to your church, talk it out, restorative justice, all these things. And you cannot own the cat.
Well, I tell you better than that. You cannot listen to your friends who are having worse problems than you give you advice. Because some people are what they call boosted up, what they call it, supplicant. They're boosted up because, why you see, it was me. You know, real man not take that.
Yes, indeed, the boosting. I see what you're saying. You're quite right. I have to ask you about something else, because you Major Smith have had your days patrolling. Have you had anything like the Zozo to deal with?
No, when I did street patrolling in my days as a platoon commander, we had a state of emergency. Island-wide state of emergency. And we were very clearly instructed that we weren't there to do police work.
Right.
We were there to protect the police who were doing their job.
Right. So when you went out, so to clarify,
you don't get involved in.
Right. So to clarify for our listeners, back in your days doing beat foot policing as a platoon commander on the ground in a state of emergency, your job was to protect the police, to ensure that no harm came to the police when they went about doing their lawful jobs.
Yeah.
Then is harm the pregnant woman that want to harm the police? I don't know. Listeners, the pregnant woman.
There's a reason why there is law on certain things that most people never think of. For instance, if I point at you in close proximity, that's assault at common law. Did you know that?
If I point at you at close proximity, it's common law?
It is said to be assault.
Assault at common law. So if I point at you at close, what you call close proximity, you have to give the distance so we know.
less than 2 or 3 feet.
Less than 2 or 3 feet. So is it from where I stand or from the end of my fingertip?
I haven't got into that kind of detail. I just know that the rule of thumb is if you're close enough to touch me, and you invade my personal space and point in my face, you have essentially committed assault.
Oh, so the pregnant woman assaulted police by pointing at his face, and so the soldiers had to come in and defend the police.
I don't know if that's the case. I only saw footage where she was in the soldier's face.
She would have.
Time I haven't seen a police officer involved.
She would have been invading the soldier's space.
Yep.
You know, I must tell you, Reverend Blair, I don't know how she came to be pregnant. Sorry, not Reverend Blair. My profuse apologies, Major Smith. I make me move the gleaner. The people see the gleaner. The people want to see my face. Ugly, but the people want to see my face. So when I saw the footage myself, and I have the gleaner because there's a photograph on the front of the gleaner, listeners. The headline of the gleaner this morning, Fire and Army. You know I don't normally draw for gleaner on Friday morning, but the headline is shocking because we don't want to become Rwanda. 90s Rwanda.
Oh. Yes.
Or even now Rwanda. I must tell you, even now Rwanda. We don't want to become now Rwanda either. So we don't want to become Rwanda. So we want to be telling the people the truth. We were educating the people this morning and telling them to talk to their children and let them know that they must vote. I had some young people listening to the Justice Minister's presentation, and it was sad. One of the young people asked me, but Orrett, you never know the Justice Minister white? I said, no, he's not white, he's mixed Chinese. But there are people who can vote who don't know Delroy Chuck.
Well, there are people who can vote who don't know the history of the country.
Well, there you go. So back to the army and what they've done here, because these are signs in my mind that the army should go back to base. We don't really need a fancy, expensive army.
It is my humble opinion that familiarity has certainly bred content.
Indeed. I was going to say, thank you very much for bringing me back to the point. Before I made the mistake and call you Reverend Blair, it was because I was going to one of them Christian points. The army not being so... I put it another way. Is a whole heap of youth man using them woman to soldier man in these areas. You know?
Well, not only that.
I just find it a way.
Trained to turn the other cheek.
Well, true, but I just we were talking about familiarity bringing contempt, and I'm saying to you that when soldiers go and find cats, then it is hard to then turn round and say we're going to show you respect, or we can't come point in your face or come up in your face when you're sleeping with a friend.
Or me.
So yes, familiarity has bred contempt. And the army is somewhat now normalized, just one of us. Are we heading into dangerous spots?
I wouldn't say headed in. I would say we're in.
Oh, we reach already?
Yeah.
Look
at what if you saw the footage, where do you think we are?
Rwanda or maybe what's that country that just gave Andrew? Say that again.
When females grab at soldiers' weapons. That is not a good thing. You saw this movie called Black Hawk Down, based on true story?
Yes, man, Somalia. Clinton.
Okay. Now, you look at Kingston downtown with what's going on, and look at that, and tell me, apart from the rocket launchers and the bomb buildings, what's the difference?
Our murder rate is higher.
There you go.
And listeners, that's sobering, but it is true. Even when Black Hawk Down was taking place in Somalia and this type of military aggression was on the ground, their murder rate was lower than ours.
Yeah.
So this clearly isn't working. And
well, I can go further.
Yes.
The same confrontation that is taking place, and I don't know what I claim ignorance as to what starts it. But when I think somebody else on YouTube calls them 87. When 87s are roaming with high-powered weapons and bad attitudes and killing women and maiming babies and killing babies and maiming women, why don't these same people meet them in the middle of the street the way they meet the soldiers and confront them? Obviously, the young lady who rushed up on the soldiers repeatedly the other day seems to have no fear of being injured. So when she sees somebody AK-47 running her neighborhood and bad, why she don't run upon him?
There's also, I must tell you, That's a very good question. The ladies are not giving away the bad men in their community. I can tell you one of the reasons why. Some women love bad men. That's the way they've been cultured. And it's unfortunate because they are the natural selectors. So it means bad man genes going to continue to go. Even when you're Pastor Jones, there might be bad man pitney. So the bad man genes continues to grow. I must give you this comment from Donovan Hoyle. Orrett, from what I remember, the home guard was from all the different communities working with the police and soldiers and peoples together. Tell us about the home guard and whether it is something that could work now. Are you familiar with it?
I don't think it was ever truly given an opportunity because of the politicization of it. Okay. Whereas when the home guard came about, it was said to be done with a model in Cuba. And in fact, armed by weapons that were brought from Cuba, 38, etc.
Okay.
And of course, it became a huge political football. So the concept of it and what it could work is up for grabs because there has been no empirical data to draw on. It was never given an opportunity to be good or bad.
Well, we really have to run. We hope that something like the home guard can emerge again. The police youth club and these activities need to start again. We need to clean up the police force because we know that every little gang, every little corner have a police friend, and we must, as a matter of urgency, I believe, ensure that more honest Jamaicans, law-abiding Jamaicans can own firearms because we are facing great threats. So please. I
have something to say to you, and as somebody with my background, you might find it surprising coming from me. But let me give you a quick scenario you can mull over. That young lady who watched up on the soldier.
Yes.
She's a citizen, right?
Yes.
And so far, neither of us know whether she has a criminal record, right?
Right.
And she could be over 21. Suppose she had a firearm.
Well, we're not supposing if she had a firearm or not. It wasn't on the incident that took place, Major. That you're aware that they gun butted.
People with that type of temperament are open to getting firearms legally.
Oh,
it's going to be the wild, wild west.
I know it's already the wild, wild west, but the wild, wild west was more peaceful. But I must tell you, you don't just distribute firearms if you're doing it. You can follow models like the models that exist in some parts of Europe, like in Switzerland. So I wouldn't suggest at all that you take that approach. I mean, we are dealing with things that start at a very early age. From when them exposed to violent music and dirty music when they're babies, to when
you have hit the nail squarely on the head.
To when they can go to school. Well, the school's saying this week that they're locking out some. I think it was Casey said they're locking out Pitney for grooming. Wrong focus. Focus on the music.
Shall I tell you what my 16-year-old what Ken Casey said?
What?
It's fascinating to him. This is from a 16-year-old.
Yes.
Fascinating to him that after being denied face-to-face exposure to get proper learning, people are more concerned with what is on their head than what is in it.
Indeed, it is shocking. Mr. Get goosebumps, right? It is shocking that our education system has been consumed this week by whether we should let in children with their hairs growing in locks or not.
Well, I'll leave you with this, all right? I know time is against you. See what driveably the school was, where somebody blocked out 2-3 children because they didn't have masks, while he didn't have on one himself.
There you go. Welcome to Jamaica, not a real place. I thank you for the contribution.
You're most welcome. Stay safe and healthy.
You too, my boss. Major Robert Fitzsmith there. We thank him for the contribution. Interesting that he was sent out to protect the police as an army man. And in protecting the police today, the JDF found it fit to push down pregnant women, to beat youth with gun butt, to kick up youth, And we don't know what else is happening that we don't know about, because many people not telling us. Welcome to the program. You know who we're running to. We tell you already. We're talking to the big boss, political commentator, your friend, and our professor, the people's professor, Damian Gordon. I think he was doing some flying in foreign going here. It's true, Damian. You there, Mr. Gordon, Prof?
Yes. Morning, Orrett. It has been a while. How are you?
You go foreign me here?
Yeah, man. I went on an academic mission. It was pretty successful.
Academic mission?
Yes.
We can fast?
Well, I presented a paper on cybersecurity. Again, an academic mission.
We never really...
It's a requirement of academic life.
I must tell you, some of the people don't want to hear so much about the paper, them want to hear about the place. Where you go?
I went to Greece, which is a once in a lifetime experience. You know, Greece has a rich history.
Yes,
you know,
Greece.
It's definitely Greece is one of those countries that is always on the bucket list of travelers and visitors. So therefore, it was a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah.
Went well.
Listeners, a bucket list is a list of things that you must do before you die. The boss said that Greece would have been on his bucket list. You saw Athens and all them things, and the men that
yes,
that
man,
had
you cannot go to Greece and not go to Athens. Athens is actually the center of democracy. Democracy originated in Athens. So you cannot go to Greece as a political scientist and not go to Athens.
And them
you hear about Socrates and Plato and Aristotle and all those famous Greeks.
Yes. The listener says the statue is famous, but we'll leave the statues alone. The Greeks, there is nothing like the statue in front of Emancipation Park, I must tell you.
I mean, there are statues in Greek, maybe not the same size of but there are statues in Greek similar to the one at Emancipation Park. Again, there may be differences in terms of the size of the various body parts, but there are similar statues in Greece.
Yes, man, I would be aware. So the Justice Minister spoke to Parliament this week. Just really quickly on the Justice Minister before we move on to other matters. What did you make of his presentation? Did you hear the Justice Minister's presentation?
No, unfortunately, I missed the presentation. I didn't get an opportunity to watch the presentation or read parts of the presentation.
Well, Pernell Charles' daughter out in East St. Thomas, my apologies, listener, I'll get her name in a second. She introduced to Parliament, it's not a bill, she just introduced it now as a resolution that the Parliament will review to tag people on bails. That was a preamble to the Minister. The Minister didn't know at one point whether to call Malahoo Fort his Attorney General or just a colleague minister. The Justice Ministry gave us glowing reports. What is your feeling about the state of justice in Jamaica? Delroy Chuck says in his 7 years as Justice Minister it has improved.
I'm not sure the measurements of improvement are, or the measure improvements, because we have always faced, for example, a chronic backlog. In terms of the court infrastructure itself, that's always been characterized by, woeful deficiencies and outdated procedures and modalities. So I am not sure. I need to, outside of that statement, I need to know about the clear-up rate, conviction rate. So all of these are important data that must be provided.
Well, I'll give you a few.
So I'm not sure if it needed this presentation. As I said, I didn't get the opportunity to witness this presentation, but that must be backed by the data.
Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on the Justice Minister's presentation because he was giving too much credit to departments that need to do a lot more. But the parish courts have been doing more than the cases that they've been seeing. So 120% more on average, it looks like there are 160.
Yeah, and the thing with justice, justice is limited to cases that are brought before the court.
Mm-hmm.
There are many cases that just simply never reach a court.
Indeed.
And a lot of time people feel powerless to even bring matters before law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, our view of justice is skewed because it does not account for the thousands of Jamaicans who have no notion of what justice constitutes because of the fact that they're marginalized and they don't feel that the system adequately represents them. So we have to focus on the informal dimensions of justice and not just what we see appear before the court. It's much broader than that narrowed conception of what justice is. Really?
A listener asking who you are, Professor. Lecturer at the University of the West Indies in Government, Damien Gordon Al-Kibelan. And he's saying that Africa is not Africa, this scholar. He's suggesting that Africa is the cradle of democracy.
Modern democracy, as we know it, began in Athens. There may be other variants of democracy, but in terms of Western democracy, let me just qualify that.
Indeed.
Western democracy began in Athens, Greece.
Yes, the Justice Minister also touted doing some 6,000 more cases this year than usual on average. 25 years, he said. 25,000 cases, he said, was the average. So he says the courts have seen about 6,000 more cases than it would have seen in a year on average. So if we're looking for measures. But he pointed out that the DPP added a backlog, but everyone else seemed to be dropping the backlogs. You're quite right, it's not a good measure, which is why his comments on the Legal Services Department were worrying, because if the Legal Services Department deal with 4,000 odd cases and they discharge 2,000 odd of them, the minister really needs to check how they discharge them. Informants are telling me that they are just opening and closing cases in many instances. No type of research, no type of work. They just want to get the case closed. And these are lawyers who are to be helping defendants who can't afford attorneys.
Yeah. And then did you speak about the fact that you have persons, and that would have been something that would have been evident in the country of the state of emergency. But before the state of emergency, you have had many Jamaicans who have been languishing in the penal system without trial, without being detained prolonged, without trial or without due process. So that is something that must be addressed, because there's a serious breach of people's fundamental rights which are enshrined in the Constitution. I think that is amounts to the miscarriage of justice as well. Yeah. So I would have hoped that you would have addressed that matter in his presentation as well.
Indeed. Well, the health minister spoke as well, but we'll have to get to that. I think another man in the food security, the crisis in the country, that crisis has been on the agenda. But the government wants us to focus a little bit on Kamina Johnson-Smith's attempt.
Yes, I think that's what we're here to talk about.
Yes, you know? To become General Secretary of the Commonwealth. Your take?
Yes. All right, so
we're the preamble. We're supporting the foreign minister in our bid to become Secretary General of the Commonwealth because we must. We're patriots, but we're still going to dissect it. Your take.
Yeah, but here's the thing. In order for regionalism to work, regional interest must supersede national interest. Otherwise, CARICOM and any attempt at regional integration is doomed to fail. With that mindset that you're a patriot, then obviously if you start with that mindset, that is harmful for the prospect of regionalism, because regionalism necessarily requires that you temper national interest for the broader regional interest. And that's a part of the reason why regionalism has not achieved intended results, because of the fact that national loyalties seem to trump the commitment to regional priorities and interests. Now, the reason why CARICOM was formed in the first place was because of the fact that as individual islands, Caribbean states have limited significance or visibility, because the average population of a Caribbean country is about 20,000 people. And therefore, each island by itself cannot project any strength or power, certainly in international affairs. And therefore, by coming together, leveraging the collective strength or power of 43 million people, it is assumed that will give the Caribbean an opportunity to project some strength and power in international realm. So, but in order for CARICOM to successfully accomplish this projection of power in the international sphere, there must be some coordination, and this requires coordination of policies, and it also requires coordination as well in terms of your foreign policy position. So CARICOM is expected to function in a consensus-oriented manner, where they meet, they collectively agree, and when they enter into the public domain, they take a unified position on any matter. Obviously, we have seen a breakdown of that convention with the Kamina Johnson Smith saga, but we saw it before with CARICOM states taking different positions on Venezuela, the recognition of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. So we have seen that splintering and that disintegration and that, rift in CARICOM, which undermines the spirit of CARICOM. And I think that is the bigger issue that confronts Jamaica and the Caribbean within the context of this battle between Kamina and Scotland for the secretary, for the position of General Secretary of Commonwealth Secretary. Commonwealth Secretary.
I must tell you, a leopard seems never to change its spots indeed. I mean, it was only in the 1960s that the Labour Party said no to federalism. And now, move forward, we saw Golden hit out against the court, the Caribbean Court of Justice.
Yeah. So the JLP has been notoriously anti-regionalism, and I think this is an extension of the historic ambivalence the historical ambivalence that the Jamaica Labour Party had towards regionalism. I think this is threatened by the fact that the Jamaica Labour Party and the candidature of Ms. Johnson Smith appears to be supported by external actors. For example, the Prime Minister of Britain, it is well known that he has a disdain for Miss Scotland. She's a member of the Labour Party. He's a conservative. But so there's a not so subtle effort to get rid of her.
By the British and by the Australians too, and the New Zealanders too. So they wanted to, they were keen and they were happy to identify any potential challenger to lend their support to that challenger. And I know, but hold on, pause. I can imagine they approached many others and they told them no. And then they got to Kamina.
Anybody who decided to challenge her would have had their support because they just want to get rid of her.
Indeed.
Simply put.
They've had Baroness Scotland. They being the trio that the Prof just mentioned. Britain, Australia, New Zealand. They've had their eyes on Scotland, citing all type of corruption and all these things. Are we not to take these allegations seriously?
We must take these allegations seriously. And my issue, Orrett, is not that she should not be challenged. However, there must be a diplomatic way to resolve this matter instead of the way it is now playing out. What CARICOM should have done, and what is not clear is that Jamaica expressed an interest in challenging her when they had last met and agreed to support Scotland. The impression that is being conveyed is that the interest of Jamaica at that time was not conveyed, and therefore this decision and this announcement has taken them by surprise. And I think this is the issue, the way it has unfolded. Because Jamaica could have expressed an interest and they could have handled this matter privately by interviewing both candidates and making a decision about who to support.
Maybe at that time the Prime Minister wasn't certain if the Privy Council was enough and they'd want more.
So it is the way it is unfolding, because again, I am not opposed to any democratic challenge, but it must be done in a manner that, preserve the solidarity and the harmony of CARICOM.
Yeah, you don't spit at the region. See, you spit at the region's friend Venezuela, and now everybody around the region getting cheaper except we.
Well, you know what is ironic though? The way, and there's a little bit of context that is important, because the way Scotland came to power was similarly contentious as the rate that is taking place now, because most Caribbean countries had agreed to support Sir Ronald Sanders when she became the Secretary General, and then Dominica single-handedly supported or announced their support for Scotland, and that kind of tipped the tide. So this is a repeat of what transpired when Scotland was elected as Secretary General.
Because
I don't know if it's a kind of karma.
Dominica really should have supported the Caribbean's choice.
Yes, because eight CARICOM states had said we were going to support Sir Ronald Sanders because he is a Caribbean born and bred. Scotland was born in Dominica, but she left Dominica at the age of 2.
Yes, and became
Therefore,
a baroness.
she's a British for all intents and purposes.
She's baroness.
So they wanted to support a homebred, Caribbean candidate, and Dominica decided to support Scotland and Sanders dropping out of the race, basically.
Well, I must tell you, though so much I don't mind the Maldives support, I'm still watching the Maldives. There was a lot of corruption there, even though the former vice president got a prison sentence. I can't remember how much it was, if it was 20 years and a fine. But 400 and odd million US dollars worth of,
yeah, but guess what? In the context of support, any support is significant. It doesn't matter where it comes from. Okay. It doesn't matter what you're describing or the internal politics. Right now, it's about getting the votes, and each country has one vote, and Jamaica has one support in the bag. We can support of one country in the bag. That is very important.
Let's see how it goes. Do you think she'll upseat Scotland?
I think she stands a very good chance, because it is obvious that a large number of Commonwealth countries and regions are not necessarily satisfied with her level of performance. And when you have the powerful countries that can influence the smaller countries supporting her, then obviously she stands a very, very good chance.
Who will Andrew replace Johnson Smith with?
I've never thought about that, but there's a name that is popping up over the place, and I think that nobody would deny that she would be a suitably qualified candidate.
Who is that?
Audrey Marks. I heard her name being bandied about the place, so I mean, that is a distinct possibility, and I mean, persons would believe that she is qualified, considering that she has served as Jamaica's ambassador to the
U.S.
So I've heard of that name. But I'm not sure, I can't say who the Prime Minister will choose, but certainly I've heard that name pop up in conversations about their possible replacement.
Let's see, we have to run, but I have to ask you a little about American politics before we get out of here. After all, everybody wants to go to America. They start give visa to Cubans now, so hopefully they fly the gate for Jamaicans too soon. The Reverend just tell us it's 2024. The next appointment is for people looking visas. In the meantime, Mr. Biden has appointed a black woman who is LGBTQ as his new press secretary at a time when the Supreme Court is blaming a black woman for allegedly leaking. The Supreme Court is not the one blaming them, it's the Fox Media and others blaming Biden's choice for Supreme Court justice to have been leaking this draft order on Roe versus Wade, or draft decision rather. What do you make of it? Is he trying to appease the liberals?
Well, I am not sure to what extent many liberals, especially black Americans, will be necessarily excited by this and not see it instead as tokenism, because there's a general view, and this is reflected in his very poor approval ratings, that he has not delivered on many of the promises that he had made to minorities, including black Americans. And he's losing the confidence, and he's losing the support of the minorities, especially the blacks, whose support is critical in terms of the midterm election. And even for him to be re-elected as president, he needs to consolidate the support of the black communities, and I think that this is certainly a move to do so. But I'm not sure of the extent to which Biden enjoys any credibility among black Americans. And I see this as an effort to regain that credibility which he didn't have in the first place. But it's interesting. I think many black will see this as tokenism, because they don't feel that his actions since he has become president has really matched the expectations and the promises he made to the black community when he was seeking office.
Indeed, and so we have to watch him, because he still has Trump on tail. We'll run with some comments from the people, if you don't mind. Al-Kibelan says, "No, I'm talking Western democracy was stolen from Egypt."
Yeah, I'm not getting into conspiracy theories. Your supporters can have those debates among themselves.
I was telling Alexander the Great did go to Egypt and learn a lot when he formed Alexandria and went back to Greece, and yes, some ideas would have went back with him. We thank the texter for the contribution. Somebody else here saying, is the earning by the mining, is not the mining we was talking about, My profuse apologies. Burn them, sell out. We're not reading those. We thank you for the contribution. Thank you so much.
Not a problem, Orrett. Not a problem, all right?
Listeners, we thank him, the big boss, the people's professor, your professor, lecturer at the University of the West Indies in government, Damien God. We'll read some more messages as we run today. Run into the break shortly, listeners. Bear with me. Yes, we apologize for that. The text that you've been sending in, we'll get into some of them really quickly. I didn't notice that we'd have had that. We're going to the phone lines. I hear the calls coming in. We soon go to the phone lines. I'm going to read the text when we come back from the break. Let's take the break. Take the break, I beg you. Listeners, you're listening to Best 100 FM, where you're, of course, still getting the better vibes. I am Orrett Montague, and JA is speaking.
Life, in life, like royalty. Hey, if I make it in a life, I gon' be living like royalty. So me happy set it in a right. Never ever happy think twice, no way. If I ever make it in a life,
we'll be right back.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-Time Taxi Service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
From anywhere at all. You can call us at 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
It's my station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Best FM. Keep listening.
Easy. Let not your hearts be troubled. Just believe in God Almighty and daily renew the mind. As we live in this time when fake is more valued than real, lies prefer the truth, the unnatural put above the natural. This is Lady Donna, aka Double D Don, with a new song, Almighty Jah, encouraging your people to keep the faith. God will make a way. Get your copy today. It's on all digital platforms. Lady Donna Official on Instagram, Facebook, AsujaRecords.com. For bookings, Asuja Record Label at Gmail. Almighty Jah!
Praise him, praise him, praise him, praise him. And the no name of drive it time me up. And the no name of drive it to you up. So them heels on them like
it's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Never ever happy think twice, no way. Me used to sleep on Stagger Coach. Me used to sleep on Corey Coach. Them and they never left me out. Me used to live at Eddie House. Me never keep me own a key. She keep my used to let me out. Me bring him with me.
Welcome back. JA is speaking. We've been covering so much. I need to update you. Remember we tell you last week that the premier of the British Virgin Islands was arrested? Remember we tell you? Well, the boss is saying that he want him immediate release. Him demanding him immediate release from U.S. custody. Him demanding him is a head of government and that he's immune from prosecution and that they're out of order to lock him up at airport. Why a world leader can travel through airport and get locked up, eh? Unless you're not a world leader. It seems the BVI is still the property of the Queen, my boss. We're running to the phone lines with that way. Stay long. You're tuned to Best 100 FM. You're getting the better vibes. I am Orrett Montague. JA is speaking. The numbers to call 619-1508-279-8473. And of course, the conversation is also going on YouTube at Bess 100 FM and at Monty O, JA. We're going to go to a call really quickly because the caller has been waiting, and then we'll read some of the messages that have been coming in. I'm really sorry, Mr. Brown. Earl Brown did ask us to ask Damian Garden if him say the guards at the Parliament building in Greece. Eh? We never get to ask. My apologies. Welcome to the program, caller. Morning.
Yes, Mr. Montague. Good morning, sir.
Morning, boss.
First thing first, the gentleman boss. Who is that premier boss, if I may ask?
The premier of the British Virgin Islands.
Who is this boss? He said the boss said needs to be released or word to that effect.
No, the boss didn't say he was to be released.
Oh, you said world leader. Remember they went to 1989 under the leadership of Daddy Bush. The U.S. Marine went to Panama City and took out Manuel Noriega, the president there.
Indeed. After they helped to put him in, man.
Yes. And you know, so them bombed the biggest police station in Panama City door. They asked unrealistic request. You can't never grant an invading force in your country. You could never grant an invading force of their country any request whatsoever.
Well,
and as a result, them bomb the police station flat and kill everybody.
Wow.
No wonder Golden said the army in Tivoli before the Marine and Kingston Harbour.
Why is them sending the armies before the Marine?
Yeah, Mr. Montague, the June that was over Tivoli Garden a few days prior to the operation. It was the US thing there, you know.
Yes, ma'am.
It was the US June
plane.
map out the place, you know.
Spy plane, but they said they were giving the information back to the JDF.
That's what you have been told.
Yes.
You know, say the gentleman, only man in farm Panama, and they forget like I say no, say the big fish America no ease up on the wheel, you know.
Oh.
When they got the scratching now, they got the wheel. Him coming for the wheel, I think they got scratch so as to get at the wheel. For want of a better terms.
Yes, man, I totally understand what you mean, and you're right.
Yes. Second thing now, Baroness Scotland girl chose the hometown girl. Me like your host, few last sentence still. Him say it seems as if he Mrs. Scotland are under a lot of pressure to back down. And didn't she agree to add only 2 more years to our term vacate?
No, man, and she's saying that her term ends in 2 years. So yes, she would rather if the lady waits until the term ends to run against her.
Yeah, but that challenge
but you see, the Rwandans got a wonderful deal from the British the other day.
Yes.
And Kagame became chairman of the Commonwealth.
Yeah,
the deal was when immigrants come to Britain, despite us calling you one of the worst abusers of human rights in the world, that them call Rwanda and Kagame, them say that him is not democratic, them say that him is one of the worst abusers of human rights, but they are sending the people claiming asylums of African descent back to Rwanda. So you could have been claiming asylum from Uganda, claiming asylum from Mozambique, claiming asylum from Somalia. You're going to, if you're in Libya, if you're coming from Mali, you're going to, if you're in Ethiopia, you're going to Rwanda.
Yeah,
and some
like
of these
European time long to make amend instead of to point fingers in terms of human rights abuses. No disrespect to the Europeans.
No, man, I want them to point the fingers because I hate to see black people suffer. And I must.
But then if you point too much finger from all
no, man, I want. Hello. Don't you realize? No, don't say that. They hardly point fingers at black people when black people suffer. It have to get extreme. It wasn't until nearly 1 million Rwandans died that we saw fingers being pointed at Rwanda.
Yes, man.
You know how much people dead in. Hold on. You know how much people dead in Ethiopia. Probably more now than the war in Ukraine. But is Ukraine one you're hearing about?
All right, Mr. Montague, you made a deal with the exploitation, colonial exploitation. That need to be amended. Something need to be going on the part of the European who are involved. You're in about protocol.
We want
protocol call what they call him colonize in Brazil, you know. And nobody know nothing about them.
About what in Brazil?
No, I say Portugal, European country, then called Portugal.
Yes, because they became Brazil.
Yeah, they colonized Brazil big time.
No, it was different. Portugal, the approach to Brazil was very. Imagine Elizabeth the Queen took up our crown and take up our family and say we're going to run Britain from here, so now, and come Jamaica, come build them big palace in Kingston and start run the place from here. That was what happened.
Queen Elizabeth the first or the second?
The first.
The first, so.
That was what happened with Portugal. The royal family of Portugal, when them hear how Brazil nice and big, and them say how Portugal little and full of snow, them say, come, let us just relocate. And they loaded their assets, their family, on many ships, and they went to Brazil. The Portuguese crown is in Brazil. So
that's the first country that took disadvantage of the Israelites, you know.
Which country?
The Jews, Portugal, in Europe.
Okay. Well,
yeah, but we don't want to come off of this Miss Johnson and Miss Barnes thing, you know, because we're waiting up now. It's because it's England and country like Australia, they are against the lady for whatever. I don't know if it's because of our color. Them claims to have some corruption business, so we don't know what directly. Any comment on that?
We've heard that it's corruption.
Yes, and Mrs. Johnson, as a hometown girl, I know the divide that comes from the political thing still, right?
Well,
the divide when it comes to politics.
Well, that is what Damien was saying. That the hate for Baroness Scotland may be coming because the Prime Minister of Britain is sort of very political. He politicizes a lot of things. You've noticed his behavior.
Yes. And it's like how the big country them are against Mrs. Baroness.
No, well, Baroness Scotland is from the Labour Party in the UK.
Okay.
So, having served as Labour Minister and all of that, him don't want her.
Yes, okay. I understand. So
she could very well. Let me finish. She could very well, when she done her stint, when she's saying to Kamina, sit down and wait the 2 years, no girl, sit down. She might be saying to herself, I want to run this party when I'm done, and I want to have a good reputation when I'm done. So
okay, I see where you're going, sir. But
so Boris is saying, Boris said we're going to mash up this Dolly house right now.
Yes, so I think Mr. Montague, I wish I well, you know, no district, not because we are from different political angle. I think I wish I well. You know, I'm not feeling against her because she's going up against the great Scott, this Barnett. And the Barnett is a colonial name where black people shouldn't even try to add that night. I would agree with respect.
There you go. She got it from her time in the House of Lords. But
I understand, but you take care.
Thank you very much.
I wish I were here, sir.
Yes, man. Let's switch Camino way.
May I say green and them I say black, or may I say red and them I say something. No, please, should I do that? Pick up his best.
Thank you for the contribution. Welcome to the program. Morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Montague.
Morning, Bob.
Yeah, with my view of Miss Johnson, Mr. As gentleman just there. You see, a good candidate is a good candidate. So that means if somebody not really qualified, it don't make sense we send her there and then she go embarrass Jamaica. You understand? When a man will say patriotic and them and she.
But why? Hold on. Why would you say? Because in all the discussions we've had about the matter, we've not mentioned Johnson Smith not being qualified, because I wouldn't say that she can't be qualified. She has served as foreign minister for Jamaica for a long time, so of course she's qualified too.
No, I'm saying this is what I'm saying. I'm saying right now Miss Johnson do a poor job during the time when she has foreign minister.
I see what you're saying. So you think she has done a poor job? Okay. Well, yeah. we can't get cheap oil from Venezuela.
Okay, and if you look, that is one. And if you look at the time when the Caribbean...
And it's 2024 is the next visa appointment for the U.S. Embassy.
So you say she not
that is two.
and if you look, from when the ship come 12 miles,
yeah.
From Jamaica.
And the best person she could carry come here for Jamaica 68. is the president of Rwanda.
all that again.
That is true.
Where I look into, I look at when you remember the Karoma thing when the people come in on the ship.
Yes, man. Ocherios, the Italian them. That time Italy was showing us videos of dead bodies going in lorries, and we was welcoming them at the ports in Ochi.
And then the Ukraine thing come back now again.
Yeah.
Where the opposition leader have to find $10,000 US and start to push the thing.
Indeed.
And so come
the students could come back, yes.
For the students, them come from Ukraine.
It's enough that you're finding or that it's 5-year reach.
Where I don't want we choose she come from Jamaica.
Boss, I didn't sit and reflect on your right. This foreign minister might just sell out Commonwealth.
Because, for instance, I have a friend in Barbados.
Yes.
Right? And I was asking the friend, and the friend can tell me everything about she, where she move, she don't move as a foreign minister. And when I tell them about the Ukraine thing, she tell me about, hello?
Yes, man, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, she tell me about the Ukraine thing. She tell me about the ship where come and she the people, when she tell us, a JDF boat and the JDF boat, then to treat us the people in there and then come in. It's just simple things in there. So the people themselves just to last skateboat now. They now just use her like a public car. She have two years in her term.
Well, she should normally it's practice for her to automatically. No, normally it's practice for her to automatically get those 2 years. Well, go on.
Yeah. You just do it and then you go ahead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you are push up and at the same time we don't say we don't want to go Republic and we don't push up in the Queen and we don't this and we don't that. It's just like them just all over the place.
There you go.
You know what I mean? No, you are under situation.
Quickly.
Yeah. No, when you look now, this man take 160 million, right? For Britain send the people them come in country.
Yes.
I most likely I send back the African them, you know,
yes, man. Mostly the Libyans and
yeah, them know. So when a man go
the Somalis
in South Africa, you can just take a boat or take a train and reach at the next country.
Well, no, not if you don't have money, sir. I must tell you, a lot of the people, some of the charities are reporting they've spoken to immigrants who have been sent back to Rwanda, and many, in some cases, the Rwandans are locking them up for the African countries. In some of the other cases, they found people living on the streets, can't get work, no proper documentation, nothing has been laid out to look after refugees. Remember, you're taking in refugees, you now need housing, you now need to be giving them some little bit of benefits for a period of time because they need to be integrated into your society and all of that.
Yeah, but them have that man, there's a roughneck man, you know, so that's why them are sending them down there. You understand?
Exactly. So the concern isn't human rights at all. So it makes us wonder, when they chastise him for his human rights abuses, why are they really chastising him? Is it because he's not doing things they want him to do? Because it clearly isn't for human rights.
Most of the time when all African leaders come here, you don't see them promote the thing and all the rest of them and promote and the African leaders.
Yes.
You know, just like how Kenyatta is coming.
Yes, man, and he would take some questions from the media.
From the media and then but this man, this man take nothing.
Not at all, because they know that even though some quarters of the Jamaican media that bought out, the media is still safe. Plus, they can't shut up foreign media.
No, because foreign media will come here and come.
There you go. There you go. Same way. I thank you for the contribution.
Yeah, man. Blessed, man. Take care.
Yes, man. Welcome to the program. Morning.
Hello, Mr. Montague.
Miss Gordon, morning, ma'am. I hope all is well. You're a mother?
Good morning.
Morning. You're a mother? Asking if you're a mother.
Yes, Mr. Montague.
Yes.
As far as I'm seeing in Jamaica here, sister, where people know how to talk, you know. Because say, when you look on that soldier, you know, beating that man with gun butt. You see, poor people don't have, it look like the injection where they give them take control of the ingredients before they hungry people anyhow. You see, they hungry people anyhow. When you look past soldier, you know, because no soldier fight war. You never see soldier go out it and a go on and a beat. Just other day then kill one guy at home. Right? And when you look and see soldier a gun but hit somebody, you can't just imagine it look like the government can turn out soldier and poor people to kill them.
And this is a zone of special operation where you're meant to be sweetening up the community to love the state.
Right.
The aim, I must tell you, wait, no, man, I must tell you the JDF's aim in all of this. The JDF's aim, and there's a woman running the JDF now. I don't know if it's control, she can't control the man them on the ground. Miss Gorman, is it that have you lost control of these foot soldiers? Because the woman leading the JDF, you're not listening to the woman? Let us see. Because a soldier has been sent to Denham Town for all as far as I know, rather, to get the people to trust the state.
Yes.
No, sir. To reintegrate the community, to bring it into the fold of the state, to provide social services, to help everybody, to get them IDs, to put young people into work. That's what the zone of special operations is about. But instead we say gun meeting, pregnant woman and youth man getting kicked up and gun butt on ground by soldiers who are dirt by themselves. You catch it by him, yeah, them is dirt. Dirt. But daddy probably used to box it. Woman probably beat it. Dirt at his yard. And he will come with his weapon on the ground and treat poor people like himself, dirt. So I must tell you, Major Smith gave a good position this morning, and we must also consider that the lady might have been pointing in his face and very boisterous and up in his personal space. But if him can't control him anger, him shouldn't be holding gun. I mean, I hear the Major say that you don't want a lady like that holding a gun. I must tell you, boss, we don't want the soldier holding it either. The temper is just as bad. Him only never fire because video camera dep on him. If it was somewhere personal, we would be wondering if this is if this vermin would have put the body in a pit and hid it from us. Is the reality I'm telling you?
Ah, Jesus, have mercy upon we poor people in Jamaica. So we don't have no government business with we. More than all in do. Into no to Japan, we should disadvantage and you know have nobody to call to. You see? Nobody to represent you. So it's Uncle God himself can help you as a poor nation in this country as a poor people don't have no talk.
Same, sir. I was asking if you're a mother and you never tell me.
Pardon?
I was asking if you're a mother and you never answer me.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Yeah, is Miss Gordon talking to you?
Yes,
Mr. Orrett?
ma'am. Miss Gordon, are you a mother?
Yes, mother. 5. 4 alive, 1 die.
Wow. A true banyan. We want to talk to you when I come off here. It's Mother's Day Sunday. You never know, Miss Gordon?
Yeah, it's Mother's Day. Yes, sir.
And thank you very much for the contribution. I hope you encourage your 5 children to vote. And to vote honestly.
Okay. Well, you have my number, don't you?
Yes, man. I'll contact you later on.
All right, sir.
And thank you very much for the contribution. Well, we're running to the break. We're running to the break. Sorry, callers. We'll come back to the calls when we come back, and some messages to read as well. Don't go nowhere. Stay with Bess. JA speaking.
If I make it in the life, I go be living like royalty. So me happy set the thing alright.
We'll be right back.
Value yourself, man. Believe in yourself. It starts with the love of self. The money and the clothes are right, but what matters is a positive mindset, a hopeful spirit. Hear me, no, man. No focus on things, man. Things don't make the man. Man make the things. Self-love is the greatest love higher. Stop look left and look right and look into yourself. I want to you. Live up. Keep it positive and live your life. Now watch the hype. All the meditation, don't you lose your mind. Live up. Don't give up. Slash said that. Man.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
This is my station.
Moving. Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Bess FM. Keep listening.
He's coming back.
Yes, indeed, it's redemption time with Apostle Clive Campbell, presenting a life-changing, life-challenging message to encourage, inspire, and motivate you towards your destiny. Every Tuesday night from 9:30 p.m. until 12:30 a.m. and on Saturday from 9 o'clock until 10, right here on Best 100 FM. It's redemption time.
I'm standing firm.
Veg Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Veg Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Yeah, Otto. Yeah, Jelly Balls. Unruly, you know?
Lose a couple friends and start with more. Greatness man I ignore. The outside man I ignore. I grade a cheek like a with more. Otto, drop it up like a C4. Babylon where we live poor. My life sweet like a ensure. Blessings are flow and we get more. You must feel what you are elevate. You must feel what you are elevate. They must feel what you are elevate. You must feel what you are elevate. Hard when time rough we are celebrate. You must feel what you are elevate. While them a fight and a segregate. Them a feel what you elevate. Them a feel what you rise. We are so relevant negative vibes.
Same so. And I must tell you, you can't rise on bad mind. You can't rise on is what that artist name? Ranko or what is the name again? No, not this one. The rank. There's a Ranko one up about blessings. That the message is close to this. You can't rise on bad mind. I must tell you, you must burn out bad mind, burn out evil, burn out iniquity. It might come in all type of forms. I have a friend who can definitely give you some guidance about staying above the fray, above the water when the worst gets thrown at you. We say morning, after morning, Miss Panka turn your cheek. Mwah! She asked me to send a special big up to all the nurses at. It's not just nurse. We can't just big up nurse. The maternity thing. It's not doctor then call when baby ready to come. Eh? Is that so? We're bigging up the nurses and the doctors at the Spanish Town Hospital, particularly those on the maternity ward. We tell them morning. We tell them thanks. We tell them thank you for doing the wonderful work you're doing. It's not nice pay. We know it's not enough money. Nurse want to live in a scheme too. So by the time the nurse pay the scheme rent and the car loan and the light bill and the water rate, and the nurse mightn't even benefit for the light reprieve that they say they're giving away. By the time they pay all of that, pittance. So we give thanks to the nurses who are hard working, and the ones at Spanish Town, KPH, they're particularly hard working. It's a whole heap of patients they have to handle. You see the crowds out of hospitals sometimes, huh? We tell them thanks. Blessings indeed. We have to tell you, Earl Brown tells us We read that early morning. All right, Best 100 FM and family all on board in the mix. While there is the will, there is always the way. Positive vibes always. Takwel Mecca, we thank you very much for the contribution. The Comina song is that beat that grandma them from the African traditional drum beating before them start reading Bible. Oh, I'll find some. Thank you for the Comina tip. The world see how a soldier beat a youth with his gun. Yes, and we talked to the major about it. Thank you. Now we see why African people still have much more suffering to come just by who they choose to lead them, and not by help you this for friend. Thank you for the contribution, Al-Kivilan. Al-Kivilan was vexed that our listener didn't acknowledge that the roots of democracy are in Africa. I wish the Africans today acknowledge the same. Again, I want to say food shortages are already impacting the world. Some countries are far worse than others. Some more outbreak in conflicts elsewhere. Soon, more outbreaks in conflict. I must tell you, Jamaica will be afflicted by similar food shortages if we don't improve our local farming and if we don't end our reliance on imports in order to do farming. You can't have to import for farm, eh? We're going to the phone lines and then we're coming right back. Welcome to the program. Morning.
Morning.
Yeah, morning.
Yeah, morning. First time talking to you.
Oh, where are you calling from?
Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz, St. Elizabeth. We named Bess because the navel string cut there. The station's navel string. And
yeah, man, my own cut right down.
I must tell you, my roots are from St. Elizabeth as well. You know, Quick Step.
Yeah, I heard about that place. I don't remember going there. It's the one back Magatien?
Yes.
Yeah, I know there. I know up there.
Okay, well, go ahead with your point.
What I call about is did you know that if England should indeed try to take over Jamaica now, black people would help England?
Well, you see, I said to myself, the Prime Minister promised us some referendums. And among the referendums was whether or not we're going to leave the Queen and become a republic, remember? And we're supposed to get referendum on term limit too, so the Prime Minister can only serve 2 terms, remember? And we're supposed to get referendum on court too, because I mean, you can't talk about wanting to leave the Queen and then you still itch up in our court. So you would need to either choose your own court of final arbitration, or you'd have to run to the one that the people create in the Caribbean that Jamaica funds heavily, the Caribbean Court of Justice. He promised us a referendum on that too. None of the referendum don't come. But I agree with you, sir, that if the boss call a referendum today and say Queen or me, the people go and choose Queen. Prince Andrew, you're not ready yet. Eh? You're bro God, but you're not king.
The other thing I want to talk about.
Yes.
There's a lot of Jamaicans realize what's going on, what started the war in Ukraine.
Do Jamaicans realize what started the war in Ukraine? I must tell you, there are many journalists in the world who don't know what started the war in Ukraine. Because when war go on, you're going to get stories from all sides. We have to decipher what might be true and might be. But what you think started the war really quickly? We have to run.
Well, the war started because border political U.S. and Russia are enemies for a long time, long ago, and U.S. want to go right down, want NATO down that side, and Russia don't want them.
The war started over feelings. You know, it's not about the cat feelings that might have led to the young lady's throat being slashed in front of her 6-month child.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Putin is carrying cat feelings over Ukraine because the Ukrainians are pretty much like Russians. They've been one country for a long time as the USSR. A lot of Russia's nuclear weapons were based in Ukraine, etc., etc. In fact, Crimea wasn't even originally part of Ukraine. It was when the USSR was in its old golden years. Them cut off Crimea and say, Ukraine, you administer Crimea. You know how like how we used to administer Cayman? So them cut off Crimea off of Russia and say, Ukraine, you go administer this away. So when Putin go on speech and him say it's not a real country. That's what they mean. It mean is we did let them go. We never expect them to go. We did expect them, like we still under Queen, but we think we gone.
Yeah.
Well, he expected the same thing. They expected Ukraine to, yes, you have your independent prime minister, but you're still bound to Mother Russia. So when Ukraine started showing signs that that was not going to be the case, because they want to be EU and they want to be NATO, the boss started carrying cat feelings. That's what I understand the war to come from.
That's not the way I see it. But anyway, we'll talk again.
There are other things though that I've not sought to dive into. He's right in some extent when he said that right-wing parties start to take hold in Ukraine. And the West, the West and the West, some of them are in Mariupol, where bombing at the steel plant. Azov unit of the Ukrainian army is pretty much Nazi. Is as Nazi as they come. We've seen the videos. A lot of people don't know
the meaning of Nazi. A lot of Jamaicans don't know the meaning.
Oh, and one true blood Nazi people recognize white, blue eyes. Thank you for the contribution. All else is beneath and inferior. Thank you for the contribution, boss. Welcome to the program. Morning.
Greetings, King.
Ras Remedy, long time. You still have the land?
If you still have the land?
Yeah, well, it's not going nowhere.
So when the land is gone? Where's it gone?
Say that again.
Where the land must gone? Where the land
That's
must
what I said.
The land can't go nowhere.
Not
the land can't wait for you and the rest of people them where need to get to rescue out the Babylon system.
Because we need to farm.
Jamaica very soon from now and not normal in a youth.
You're right. You're right.
Tell you know that and not normal I go come to Jamaica country.
If they think England, chicken price is doubling is enough, huh? What the potato, the rice, the flour, the cereal, cornflakes.
Those three countries planning some serious things for Jamaica country.
Oh.
I don't know if you read Revelation 16 where I tell you about the Armageddon.
The Armageddon.
Right? Armageddon, which is the Armageddon war. But which party I go fight for? A Jamaica country. That England, America, and China, I go fight for Jamaica. Bam! Just when you say I go to Russia, I go to a little Jamaica very soon.
They going to use the soldiers that can only beat a pregnant woman, or them going to use real soldiers?
Oh, them soldiers are ignorant soldiers. All of them take the vaccine. It's when you take the vaccine, you ain't take be anything, because you're human being again. It's called AI.
Only on Bell, you don't have a Bess FM sound. Only on Listen, Ras Remedy, the soldier them kick the woman car, them take the vaccine.
Yes, because they're not human being anymore. They're AI, artificial intelligence. So they have the mind of their own. They're controlled by a computer.
No, get the boss a sound, man. Listen, Ras Remedy, the soldiers are no longer human because the vaccines have made them robotic, so they've lost all sense and feelings. So the rumors that we're hearing that them touching up the girls in Denham Town, them...
Big man, as I said, the people now have no humanity right. Where human rights in Jamaica is concerned, nobody here. All right, I'm calling on two things this morning.
Yes.
Cockburn, Juliet Cockburn. From Lawrence Savant.
She look hot. Wait, not today. You saw her. You saw her in the parliament this week.
Big man,
listeners, I want you to Google what menopause means. Wait now. I'm going to say something that some people might be. All right, go on, make your point, and then I'll tell the people about Juliet and her menopause.
Every taxi man I drive pan. Everybody over there pay tax. Everybody over there use the road.
Yes.
And the road from Lawrence Savant to Glengar in a terrible condition. One politician, Marisol Prairie, and the other one supposed to be the MP and the councillor for Glengar, Freetown.
Yeah.
I understand that the MP take the contract and give it to a labor right and get the road half done. The road where them do a Freetown, Glengar, it's not done. Them do one part after they left it, them go over there so they do one part. They do one part over there so they left it and do one part. And money was allocated to do that road.
Yes.
And up to now, it can't get done. It can't get rectified. And the money when they get, nobody don't know what they do with it. So me want the road of Freetown, Glengar to be rectified. And the one from Lawrence Savant all the way back to Glengar.
You use TikTok and them something there because there's a famous there's a famous little thing going on now on TikTok where you show your MP and you show your road.
Big man, if you ever 20 people and patch up the road, you see, they patch over the corner, they say they left the middle. They patch over, they say they left there. So.
It sounds like somebody thieving money. You see, that's why MPs mustn't have nothing to do with contracts. That's the political parties don't like Orrett because of the position I'm taking now.
Because two of them are labourers and all of them are friends. Then just give them labour rights for the contract.
Well, they can't get wait no. They can't they can't give the contract to anybody else if they want to eat a food off it. They have to give it to their friend. Come. Listen, is which country you live in? Then me can get big contract. There you go. Same way. Well, I don't know about religion. Same way with the politics. Same way. Because you can't get big contract and give it to anybody but your friend. So Jamaica run.
It's sad, son. It's sad.
And your friend, as a friend, has a duty to give you something out of the contract. Your friend not going to lose. Let us finish the man. Your friend not going to lose.
Pass them out, not even pass out the big patrol them for the taxi man them who carry the passenger them to come guard the people in work morning, noon and night. You can have a good road for drivers.
Too much people have to eat off that road. Too much people. I have to run, Rasmidi. I have to run, but too much people have to eat off that road. Too much people have to eat off that road. When I say eat off that road, what I really mean is, by the time the contractor share out the people's money who helped him to get the contract and all of that, and then him done share out,
oh, they take it and do what they want to do with it.
And then they don't share out. No, they're not finished yet. You're mad. You don't know that area leaders and dons have to get money.
Oh gosh.
And watch a man.
Anyway, big man. You have yourself. I'm Monty O.
Yes.
Come and check me in Glengar very soon.
Yes,
because
my boss.
Jamaica, after this hurricane, when this hurricane season starts, no more Jamaica now go deck.
All right,
and Jamaica get a earthquake, hurricane, tsunami, and a 7-mile tsunami in every parish.
All right, my
boss.
All right. I thank you for the contribution. I thank you for the contribution. Is the earning by the mining companies extended beyond the loss to compensate for their ridiculous activities? We're going to look at the mining issue another morning. It didn't come up this morning. I thank you for that contribution. I'll soon come back to the phone lines. Takwe Meka say, in a general sense, I believe that has placed more pressure on Jamaicans' overall agriculture output among the destruction in the quality of the environment altogether. Somebody is saying that some of the mining is to blame for eradicating our agriculture. I don't know if I agree with that, but thanks for the contribution. Whole heap of land out there that can be farmed. Give the youth land to farm. Sri Lanka is doing what must be done to the leader of Jamaica. No confidence vote for this leader. I hear you. Thank you for the contribution. Yes, the Sri Lankans want to see the back of a corrupt regime. Anti-Africa, you mean like nothing black? Who that? I don't know. Burnout, sell out. No, not when burnout. Thank you for the contribution. Why is PNP so havoc over Scotland? Someone they don't even know. Allow Jamaica for prosper. I thought socialists believe in Jamaica first. This is all political. I thank you for the contribution. I must tell you we support the finance minister's bid. We don't support how it has been done. She could have did wait till the lady done her thing, but alright, she do it, decide to go now. We're done, so we're going to support her and go now. Don't make me change my mind. I thank you for the contribution. Boris said a woman a thief. Boris says a lot of things. Those graduates are so groomed to think Eurocentric. No wonder the spells of the colonialists and associating connective countries are so enthralling in respect to our peoples being subjective. I want you to know, I thank you for the contribution, but Damian Gunn is a very objective young man. And whatever we hear from him is something that has been concluded in his own mind, and not nobody feeding him knowledge. Democracy began in Rome when Herod asked the people to choose between Jesus and Barabbas. Democracy is not always good. I thank you for the contribution, my boss. I'm going to disagree with you that democracy is not always good. Monty, you see why the corruption can't abate in Jamaica? Because you believe in top man and big man. What you should teach your listeners is, did he do the crime he was accused of? God going to punish you. Keep Rwanda name out of your mouth. You're a Somalian. I thank you for the contribution. Lord Jesus, Mr. Perry wants to be seen. Welcome to the program. Morning.
Morning, all right.
Oh, morning. Well, go on, boss.
I am here listening to you. I spoke to you the other day about the Colombianization of Jamaica.
Yes.
This week I'll be speaking to you about the Palestinianization of Jamaica.
Palestinianization. So we're turning Colombia and Palestine at the same time. Where are the Israelis?
The Israelis are down in Denham Town.
Oh, so Denham Town want to take over the place?
And they are fighting the Palestinians who the land belongs to and who want to go to their temple to pray.
Oh, so you think the soldiers trying to take Denham Town people off their land?
Well, let me just say this to you. From 2016, the government has really put on the ground the soldiers and has militarized Jamaica.
Yes, you don't see how much our GDP spent on army.
Right. Well, watch me now. Listen to me. All right. Is that under the Jamaica Constabulary Force Act and the Jamaica Defense Force Act, is that no soldier should be operated independently on the street, away from a constable being in their presence, at least one constable with at least 3 members of the JSDF operating, and the constable is in charge of the operation, and he makes the arrest and he points out the law. What we have seen is that these soldiers are...
Yes, Major Smith told us their role. You're a forces man. So the Major tells us back in the days when you lot would have been doing the patrols on the ground. The Army's only purpose, as it is today, is to ensure that the police officers are kept safe.
I don't know about that. I used to work with the soldiers in Rat Patrol, and is that we work together as a team, not to make anybody safe, because
you just don't want to admit it, man. You just don't. Go on, talk.
In time, the reality is that we can put laws aside when it suits us. The government has totally militarized the country, and it's ignorance of the people they don't know.
True.
Every person that is put into the back of the soldier jeep under the instruction of the army is illegally detained. And I'm saying to you people in Denham Town this morning, a lady and the son and whoever gets arrested by the soldier, it is false arrest, and you have to make a complaint to the public defender and get your lawyer. Don't go to no court and plead no guilt, because the fact is that the soldiers are not supposed to detain you and put you in no vehicle.
But if you can follow Delroy Chuck, them can just go down to legal aid.
Let me say this. Delroy Chuck is and Bartlett is two of the world's greatest optimists. Right? They just
I like the way you say it nice, greatest optimist. You don't want to call them liars, say greatest optimist.
Now, if you believe when Bartlett and Eddie, Mr. Theater, one time said if Ed Bartlett come and take and wait up and come to your house and water drip off for him and you ask me if you're outside and you say yes. Go outside, go look, it's a garden pipe.
Siaga says so.
So,
hold on, man. Is Siaga get that joke?
Yes.
You're dead serious.
He said Dr. Chang come.
Not Dr. Chang, you said it was Bartlett.
I said both of them in man.
Oh, it was talking about both of them, and listeners Siaga used to say a lot of things about some people in this party. When him they tell them for light, I can't go sing a song, can't find them way back home because them run left the party. So tell us what are the things he said. Go ahead.
He said Dr. Chang come in your house and you see blood run off of him and him a ball saying get beaten. Try go outside and look what him do. He's some dying choke on himself.
We just say it was water in the story, not Augustus. Because you say if it...
That is Ed Bartlett. You mix up Chang and Ed Bartlett. Oh. I didn't say Chang, I say Ed Bartlett.
All right, my boss. Oh, so you say with Bartlett, him say if Bartlett come in and him wet, soaking wet, and him tell the rain falling out there, and you go look, it's just hose him wet up himself with and step through the door. And if Chang go out and come in and him soaking in blood. And him tell you say, man out the door beat him and stab him up. When they go outside and look, it's just die, you're going to see.
These people are. Today they are the two front ministers. They are the two front ministers. Now, Orrett, I want to say Jamaica.
Yes.
You know, don't understand that, you know.
Yeah, drop a tune. Drop a tune for one hour quick of them. Because quick of them are going to vex if we don't drop. This is Ranko. RSJ Laws. Ranko. Drop a tune quick of them. Morning, Ranko. Boss. Ginseng, I hope all is well. Go ahead and finish your pint, Al.
Yeah, get me mixed up, man.
You were telling us that we can't believe. Wait, no, I'm going to tell the people what you were saying. A little less volume on the rank. You were telling the people that you cannot believe that the two people fronting the JLP right now outside of Andrew et al. Are Mr. Chang and Mr. Bartlett, one in tourism and one in security. And both men were accused by Eddie Siaga in jest of being pathological liars. That's what you're telling the people.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Did you know that they think the commission, right? Integrity Commission, said that Arbin Hill should never hold any position in Jamaica.
Then hold on. Wait. Then is Integrity Commission you the need for call for them tell you that? Watch the NWC. Listeners, watch the NWC. Ensure Arbin Hill don't sell out on the water. And if you see any signs of it, turn your back on this government same day because it is treason. If them take on the water company, it's treason them taking against the people. Them committing against the people. Put your trust in God. You agree?
I am saying.
You say you agree, Moa here. You say agree that is treason if them take the water company from the people.
I am saying that.
You're not going to answer. Not going to answer.
These people are in position today of making decisions in governance. Jamaica's problem today, you know, it is not. Listen to this. It is not Arbin Hill now. They told them a beat up people. You know, it is the lack of proper journalism in this country. These people who are calling themselves journalists to be arrested and charged, you know.
Boy, I hope you're not putting me in the number, but I must tell you, it's money that it takes money to run journalism, and you must go out and you did promise one time to help us get some advertising. I'm going to tell my secretary to call you. I'm so sorry, and we're going to definitely chase up some of the people that you had suggested. We have a paid interview next week, so the boss make a change, we make a change. We speak to Bernie Miller about working overseas. So it is one of the few paid things we've gotten the chance to do. We give thanks for it when it comes. We hope the money come in before the interview. I must tell you, we want advertising. If you get advertisers, business people, like-minded business people who understand that truth needs to be spat on radio, then get them to fund radios that tell the truth, like Bess FM. So the advertising money can pay for investigative journalism. Back in my younger days, I remember when the incursion happened, I was at News Start 93 FM. And I was in Tivoli with my driver for many days, watching and observing what was taking place myself, friending up Matthias Schwartz. Matthias Schwartz was a journalist from the US who came down to do his own investigation and lived in Tivoli for 3 months. That's how seriously they take their journalism and live amongst the people. And he was the one who helped Jamaican journalists to find the truth about the spy plane over Tivoli that the government said didn't exist. After Nelson tell the lie, I have to resign 2 weeks later when the US government, through friends in Washington, sent out report that his lie Nelson not tell because plain the dead of the truth. So you're quite right. We need good journalism in the country, but it has to be paid for. And government now pay for it.
The reality, Orrett, is that when you have one journalist in Jamaica that does investigative journalism, Sarah Burton, and because she asked a question about the minister, the rest of the journalists, them attack her.
I realized. I have reached out to Zara. I've told Zara we could do a lot of work together, Zara. But again, it takes having money to do investigative journalism. For example, even this program. My company, yes, produces, etc. But we have to find our own money to ensure that the program stays afloat. And the station has to pump its own money into ensuring that the The slot is afloat. You're talking light bill, water rate, ask Tony Shaw, he'll give you the long list. So we need support from the like-minded people in private sector. If honest radio is to stay on air, it's just the reality. If Jamaican people don't realize that, then when they close and open the eye, all of the radio stations and media houses will be controlled by big business and big interests.
What happened now, Orrett, is the government take over Cool FM and going to turn it into another JIS. So you're going to government
having taken over JIS, because yes, JIS is government run, but it wasn't designed to be quite so partisan. I thank you. We have to run. We've shot well past 10 o'clock and I get in the signal.
Okay, all right. Take care.
Thank you very much, my boss. The Nalta Basco, we say morning. Doris Gangson Slime, Minister Child. We thank you for the contribution. Not reading that young pressure. Blessings, my brother Montague. Enough love, and respect. Up and running like always. Listening from Pittsburgh. Thank you very much, my boss. Donville Reynolds Monty. Listening from Baltimore. Morning, Rosie Posey says, Office of the Prime Minister advertises on NNN. Yes, we know. And Alkevilan says, big up Zara Burton. Indeed, Perry, the pirate, Sant are running. We're not paying you no mind. They call him Big Truck Perry. Yeah, you know, a lot of things we can say about Big Ship Perry. We're taking it out of here. I am Orrett Montague. Thank you for joining me for another wonderful week. And Nikki, we have to talk when I come off here. I want you, all mothers, a Mother's Day song, we have to run with it now. We don't run with the jailhouse the nice, but it's Mother's Day and it's Child's Month and it's Nurses Day. So we have to look after our women this morning when we run. You hear? So we're going to look after our women when we run. And 2 women are going up for Secretary General of Commonwealth. One of them is a Jamaican woman. Who do you support? Well, you know, we have to support we yard base. I'm going to tell you something else about another woman we have to support, but I'm not telling you that this morning because I'm waiting to see if any changes and fixes going to come at the place where that woman is. I am Orrett Montague. If you find the tune yet, we have to run. The big boss is coming up next, Ibn Lion, and we want to thank the Reverend Harold Blair Jr. for joining us this morning. We also simply must thank Major Robert Finzi Smith, and we have to thank Mr. Paul Blake, the junior shadow minister of the PNP, the spokesperson on agriculture. We thank him for joining us this morning. And of course, Professor, Lecturer in Government at the University of the West Indies, Damien Gordon. I also have to thank all of you for keeping me company. Can't be done without the listeners. So thank you. Happy Mother's Day. I don't know why I'm dropped this one. Minette Lawrence, happy Mother's Day, Mom. Turn your cheek. And listen to Minette. Remember now on Morning Connection every morning right here on Bess, except Friday morning when you listen to Monty and JaSpeaks. Your choice, boss. The big boss, Andre Boyd, engineer, is him do the selection. So don't blame me for this Mother's Day music. Join us next week.
Make your proud and the whole family too. Man, I hold it like a soldier, go on do the do. No fight man get, but me still a pull through. More well it talk to me, yeah, me know me stars true. But you know me love your mommy, me I do the right for you. Never left my side, just stick on like a glue. And your phone a Benz, say the one that brand new. My born and growing at the ghetto. Me know me messed up, more while it might have stress you. Have to make it out, you hear me tell you how when that happen, try know me not left. Me a dream from me young, say me a go be a star. And I just know we a come from far. Sleep on the ground when we a war a go on, but we tug it out, said we a go and stay calm. But still, mommy, go on with the faith. My soul make it true. Have to make you proud and the whole family too. Man, I hold it like a soldier, go on do the do. No fight man get, but me still a pull through. More well it talk to me, yeah, me know me stars true. But you know me love your mommy, me I do the right for you. Never left my side, just stick on like a glue. And your phone a Benz, say the one that brand new. And I like me not have a father, but my mother did them more. Respect to your daddy, man, I own for the goal. Have a ball for my foot, now a time figure score. Have to make it out, dog, I'm well